Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over a very entertaining and revealing email that was sent from a subscriber. That's from a guy, he is in his 60s, maybe even 70s at this point. And he writes in and shares his story about how when he was 60 years old, he and his wife of many years divorced because he was in an absolute stereotypical miserable marriage. He stayed in it for the kids. And after getting divorced, he was a free man. Made a trip to Southeast Asia, Thailand specifically. And to no surprise, an American man, who I'm going to guess took care of himself, met a woman who completely was head over heels for him. They had the time of their lives, all the hooking up and all that, and they became an item. Long distance relationship, all that. Even going so far as him wanting to marry her. And then you're going to see how her true colors came out. And let me tell you, gentlemen, this guy dodged a big one, as you're going to see as the story goes. And I'm doing this one as a perfect example of how, guys, you always really have to vet the girls that you get involved with. Okay, you just can't go on the fact that they're just bombarding you with attention and loving and all that. And it's understandable, this guy, because he was out of a long, miserable marriage, and all of a sudden he had a pretty gal that was really into him, and they were hooking up left to right and all that, but you got to use your common sense. Don't listen to this head, listen to this one. And really screen him, take your time and all that, because otherwise it could be a train wreck, and in some cases, threaten your own life. No joke. Also, you're going to see, guys, how a lot of guys talk about how the last feminine women out there are either in Eastern Europe or in Asia, Southeast Asia. And while there's definitely a lot of truth to that, and a lot of guys have found their wives outside of those countries, you still have to be careful, because a lot of them, they see an American man showing up, let's be honest, a white American man, and middle-aged, figure he has resources, and they're on him like white on rice. And at the end of the day, they want to get out of their fucking country. And they get together with you, they immigrate to this country, have a kid, and then they're sending money back home, or they want to bring their whole family over. You got to be careful about this type of thing. So, but before I get into this, real quick, I'm going to read a very brief email sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy who wrote me the other day how he is in his late 40s, I believe. He has a son who's 10 years old, 10 and a half years old, and he's RPing him. He's showing him certain videos of mine. Not all, but certain ones where I'm not dropping F-bombs all the time. Teaching his son about being ambitious, going after your goals, not throwing your friends under the wheels of the bus for a girl, purpose-driven, the kids in martial arts, doing well, that type of thing. And he wanted to write in a little tip here. And it's a good idea, because young kids need to know these important things that, yeah, let's be honest, my generation didn't really get. He says, "Greetings, SSM. I thought you might enjoy this update. My son and I were watching the movie Battleship, the one with aliens losing to the Navy. Liam Neeson was the admiral. In an early scene in the movie, there was a drunk guy at a bar and a very attractive blonde girl. He goes up to the bar and hits on her. She wanted a burrito, but the bartender would not give her one. The drunk guy said, 'I will get you one.' He goes across the street to the convenience store and it's closed. He breaks in, gets arrested, and then tased as he hands her the burrito from the store. As that scene closes, I asked my son, 'What is wrong with this?' My son said he was simping. I then said, 'How?' He said, 'Because he got arrested for a girl.' Your work is very invaluable. Keep up the great work." See, guys? He's teaching his son these things. Hasn't watched movies and said, okay, what's wrong with this picture? What's going on here? And the son can figure it out. And yes, I didn't see that movie. I'm aware of that movie. But in a situation like that, the guy gets himself arrested to get something for a girl. Yeah, bad idea. That's simping. But also, I'll add on to that scene. You can mention to your son, he shouldn't have gotten into that thing to begin with. He's not her servant. He's not her butler. But your son is learning. Very good. So guys, I just shared that quick one there to show you it's important to teach the boys young. Now, on to the main event about this guy's misfortune with Miss Thailand. He says, "Hey SSM, this is not one of your typical stories that you tell on your channel, but I thought you might be amused by it personally. I'm a little older guy, actually, and this started when I was 60 years old. I've been in an unhappy, miserable marriage for a long time, but stayed in it to finish raising the kids, and I finally I just could not effing do it anymore, and the children were grown and married now. The year that I actually left." That's a long time to be in a miserable marriage, man, to wait for the kids to grow up. I understand and respect you did it because you loved your kids and didn't want them to be, in a broken home and all that, but All those years of your life you wasted being with that miserable woman and being miserable. It's not worth it. And I just hope your kids don't end up in relationships where just like you were in. Seriously. But do your best to spread your wisdom and things you've learned to your kids. Anyway, he said, no cheating on either side of our parts, just misery and death as far as living. So you think. So after we split up, even before the divorce was completely final, I decided to go to Thailand, partly for some medical treatment, and I met a woman who was there who was actually 39, and she gave me a lot of attention that I had not had in many years. It seemed like she gave me a lot of respect that I had not had in many years as well, and we effed like rabbits, which was also something we had not done near enough for many, many years. There you go. He's a free man. He's not even divorced yet. Off to Southeast Asia, meets a chick who's 39. So if he's 60 and she's 39, that's a good deal for him. And by the way, she could have been 50 now. These Asian women look like, I kid you not, it's amazing how so many Asians, the way they age. Because you can have, I've seen Asian women that are in their 50s. They look like they're fucking late 20s. It's amazing. I wish I had that for my skin. But she was love bombing him. She also seemed to love effing that much. She made me feel like a young man again. Anyway, as you know how some of these stories go. She knew exactly what she was doing. And you know what? If you're just going there having a good time, hooking up with this woman, okay, it'd be no big deal. But watch what happens, guys. And remember, it's been a long time since he had a woman treat him that way, give him attention, all that. And the problem is what some guys might do. We became very attached, or you became very attached, and I would go over there every 6 months for about a month or 6 weeks. Dumbo me. You don't have to say it. I wanted to marry her. Smack. You're barely divorced if you're not even divorced yet, and you want to now marry another chick? And I tried to get her a visa to come to the USA, and that was my mindset back then. Not anymore. I knew I wouldn't marry her unless she could come here and be here for a while and for us to live together full-time for a while, because the distance was too challenging to make that kind of commitment. Why didn't you just... I get, like I said, that you've been in a miserable marriage, and you're finally having a woman who's paying attention to you, and you're feeling good, but you had to really ask yourself, what is she getting out of this? She gets to leave her country. Does she secretly have a boyfriend, a husband, kids? These are very important questions to ask. But she was love bombing you with all the attention, making you feel like the king, and effing your brains out. But these things, you're not the first guy or the last guy that will do something like this because of a woman bombarding him with love and attention. But he learns. He says here, I was self-employed, so I could somehow take off when I wanted to. We would speak on Skype for about an hour face-to-face every day. Way too much. You should have been doing that maybe once, twice a week max, because you're giving her all your attention. You're demonstrating through your actions. Right there. That's way too much. You're demonstrating through your actions that you're so into her, and that makes you putty in her hands, wrapped around her little finger. My last trip there, I knew something was up. All of a sudden, she didn't want to have SCX anytime that I wanted, or as often as before. She'd either be too tired, too busy, or not, and I'm getting older. I even said to her, well, next time I come back, are you going to be a lesbian? I determined before I left that I was going to break up with her, but I did not. Interesting how that suddenly changed. How in the beginning she was bombarding with love and attention, but what happened? You demonstrated to her, you barely knew her, and you're ready to marry her, and you're talking to her on Skype every day. You showed her just how much you like her, and the second woman knows that you're more into her than she's into you, and you've given her certainty. All of a sudden, right there. And by the way, if I got on a plane from the US of A and flew all the way to Thailand to see my quote-unquote girlfriend or fiancée, you bet your ass there's going to be some hooking up going on after that long goddamn flight. I'd have been like, see ya. When I got back home, I didn't contact her immediately, and as much, we kind of fell back into the pattern of talking every day, and even though I knew I was going to break up with her. Again, I had no proof of anything, as we lived half the world apart. She lived in Bangkok, and I lived in Hawaii. Well, that's close than if you were living in the mainland here. Mahalo, brother. You know, if she had just said, I think we should see other people, I would have understand that because of the time and distance. And I also would have broken up with her if that's what she wanted to do. Well, you should have done what you wanted to do. See the problem here? It's all about her, what she wants, making her happy. This is the mindset that gets guys in so much trouble. This is nice guy behavior, but you have been out of the game, if you will, for a long time. You're in a miserable marriage, and a lot of times guys are in miserable marriages because the guys themselves were acting weak and let their wives boss them around. I'm being honest here. We can all learn from your story. But you should be the one calling the shots. You should be the one leading, not letting her lead the relationship. And you were talking to her too much, and you rushed into everything. And I'm not saying this to be a jerk. I'm just pointing these things out so other dudes don't make the same mistake. But I had told her that we were not going to get married, is all I said, and she launched at me about cheating with somebody in my office. She's accusing you of cheating. She was always very jealous and would say, who's there with you? And I would say, I've got 2 girls in bed with me right here. Do you want to meet them? I never had anyone else, but that was the only thing I was interested in. I know, big mistake. This old dog is still learning. But remember, I was out of the game for decades and really had no effing idea what I was doing and trying to meet women and have fun again. I get it, man. I get that you were out of the thing and didn't know what you were doing all, but still. And I'm sure there was a party at the time thinking, what the hell am I doing? Want to marry this girl I barely know? But wait till you see, guys, in a moment. He learns a whole lot about her. It says, bottom line here, we had a big blow up and never spoke to each other after that. I really wasn't that heartbroken because I kind of had kept in reserve. And I'm not sure where this is going. But we had a lot of fun together, and we really did enjoy each other's company a lot. So for some reason, I never checked up on her at all. The following summer, about 10 months later, I decided I'm going to Google her name and see if anything shows up. She has a pretty unique Thai name, and to my surprise, there were all these international news reports from the previous summer, which you could look at. I could give you her name, and you might find them entertaining. Well, bro, email me her name, because I want to look this stuff up. So the whole time he's seeing her and was going to marry her, he never thought to Google her. Well, he did, and look, and you're going to see all sorts of articles about her. Nobody has international articles unless you've done something pretty freaking bad or something pretty amazing. But given the situation that she's not obviously super wealthy or anything, she's probably done something pretty bad. It says, from Thailand, UK, and Ireland, each with a little bit of different twists, saying it was her fiancé, husband or boyfriend, so they didn't have all their stories straight. Hold on. You saying that she had a boyfriend, fiancé, or husband while she was with you? Imagine that. And I'm willing to bet you there were other dudes that were coming to see her as well. But it was definitely her picture all snuggled up with him in a couple of shots. Now this happened before our breakup, so we were in some serious relationship, even an engagement. We were still actually at the time of this event speaking every day on Skype for about an hour, and she never missed a beat. Turns out this poor guy from Ireland was with her at an incredibly beautiful place that I've been to with her as well. It's in a river gorge with all these floating cabins. There's a waterfall right across the river, incredibly peaceful, beautiful place. The news reports agree that they had been some big argument after being drunk, and she left and went and stayed with some friends as she knew there was something. The next morning, when she came back, he was missing. And according to the story, other people had seen him there that morning. Of course, that is other Thai people that she may have bribed them, or they may have just been trying to cover for her. So she had a guy, they got into a fight, and he just suddenly disappeared. Remember, this is the girl that he was so amazing, and the sex was amazing, and she was love bombing him, and he was going to marry her, and all of a sudden, like that, she turned and has an anger problem. Would have been a pretty good idea to vet her before you got real serious. He says she didn't have a hot temper, but I hope she wouldn't have offed somebody. Long story short, they had to fish his body out of a river later. So as all my friends tell me when I tell them the story, I literally dodged a bullet. Somehow after I read this, I had this great relief because this had been going on while we were supposed to be together. And though sorry for the poor Irish bloke, it gave me the answer I needed for breaking up with her, which all I had was my gut and, oh yeah, the giant red flag waving at me, not wanting to have SCX as much. Well, with my great relief, I was hilarious, and I got really drunk and had one last Skype with her. After finding this out, you did another Skype with her? I guess you just wanted a good story to tell the grandkids. I told her I'd seen the news reports and was not surprised to see her effing somebody else, but was really surprised to see that she had offed somebody. She launched into defense saying all these things were not true. Of course she said that. And she wasn't effing the guy, but he wanted to F her, and she had been proven innocent, blah, blah, blah. And don't ever call me again. And he says, no problem, bitch. For some reason, I still have an attraction to the ladies of Southeast Asia, perhaps because I'm older and they generally accept an older man easily. Yeah, because you got money and resources, and maybe you can take them out of there. But I have kind of moved on to the point now that has taken me a while where I don't think I want to be married again, which is a big step for me. I do enjoy your videos, and even though you're speaking to a much younger audience, I've gotten a lot of them out of them as well. Keep it up, Pete. Well, bro, that was a great story, and let me tell you, you did dodge a big one. That could have been you in a freaking river being fished out. But I hope you've learned a lot since then, really, by watching the videos and all that. So let's review. Beware of the foreign women that obviously may want a better life and are getting together with an American or a man from the West who obviously is perceived to have resources to take them out of their country and help them have a better life, maybe for their kids, their family, and all that. Be careful. Doesn't mean you can't go over there and have your fun. Just keep it under control. And if you actually get serious with one, you got to do your homework. You just never know. And honestly, you got to do your homework about any gal you get involved with nowadays. Let's be honest, especially if you're going to get into a relationship. So for you guys out there that want to find a gal, traditional woman, who hasn't been just poisoned by the feminist movement, yes, everything I've been told, Eastern Europe, Asia, Southeast Asia, but just be careful. Don't mean they're all going to be like this one here, but just be careful, and be careful of the love bombing and all that. But in the future, my man, no, you should not get married. Why the hell do you want to get married? You're probably in your late 60s now, I guess. 60s, maybe 70s. I don't know how old this story is. But there's no point. You can have ladies that you see and have a good time with. You don't need to get married, for God's sakes. But I hope you pass this wisdom on to your children and eventually your grandchildren. And keep watching my shows every day. You know, you'll find them entertaining, and you'll learn a lot of good things. And by you sharing your story, I guarantee you, you've helped somebody out. Somewhere in this world, someone's going to hear your story and think twice about a gal they rush into a relationship with, especially if they're traveling overseas. I kid you not, guys. There's a part of me when I hear these stories, I want to take a trip to Southeast Asia and literally do like a documentary as a middle-aged American man and just see how much freaking attention I get and them trying to woo me and everything like that because they want to get the hell out of there. That would be a pretty funny thing just to show. Put the whole thing on YouTube, you know, behind-the-scenes situation for Americans going over to Southeast Asia, Philippines, Southeast Asia, whatever, and seeing what it's like. That'd be a pretty funny thing. Maybe a future business endeavor for me. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let this guy know what you think. And also, guys, you got a great story like to share, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time to get to it, and I definitely want to get a chance. And by the way, you guys have been great with that. I get bombarded with emails every day. Keep them coming. I try to crank out as many videos as I can, but I swear I need a clone. I need 2 clones to just film, so I can have round-the-clock shows all the time to keep up with all the emails you guys send me. But I'm doing my best. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.